The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. If you enjoy our work, please like, comment, subscribe, and follow the links in the description. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.
Greetings and salutations, listeners. I, Eric J. Chucky, joined, as always, by my Chief Executive Officer of Talent Relations.
Actually, my official rank in Sportco Studios is Executive Vice President.
That's true. You do have a rank in Sportco Studios. The boy.
Hey.
And this is the Two Nerds Podcast. Let's start off with a clarifying statement here. This is being recorded
well in advance of when it might hit air.
Yeah. We've got
Essentially what happened is we started to have a conversation, the kind of conversation that originally inspired us to actually do this podcast in the first fucking place, and then we went, wait a minute. We're fools! Why don't we have a microphone running?
Yeah, we have the words and the time, so let's have this conversation on air. But for that train of thought, Satanist 2 would be with all of you.
Because we can't recapture the magic.
I know.
I'd love to, but
It has become such an in-joke. But yeah, we've got like the WWE draft and the next pay-per-view and who knows what the fuck else between us recording this and when it goes up.
We're recording this, the star date is Friday, July 15th, 2016. Just so you know, a firm timestamp when this is. So things may have happened.
Oh, they're definitely going to.
Things may have happened after this, which would have given us more and better ideas, but these are the ideas we have right
now. So a couple of weeks ago, I came to the boy with a suggestion that we do a podcast that was take 30 wrestlers, or build a roster of 30 wrestlers, book a show. Who would you hire and why? And
I mentioned in a previous podcast, this was the idea I didn't think I had stuff to say for, because while I'm confident in my ability to tell stories, I'm not a good talent guy. I'm good at working with the talent that I'm given, but I'm not a good guy for recruiting. Any list I made of 30 dudes would be like 10 dudes I actually want, and then just a list of the internet's favorite 20 other guys.
But you expressed this opinion to me and then said, that you could book the WWE roster now. That wouldn't be a problem.
I'd be happy to book their roster now, yeah.
And I don't like to engage in fantasy booking in the way that, take it from X storyline, how would you fix this? How would you do this going forward?
Or you're typically not a huge fan of, alright, give me the next 6 months of, the main event.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not, because in that version of speculative fiction, I find it's just a really easy way to either set myself up to be disappointed or unsurprised.
Both of which are much worse for him than they are for, other people.
So, I don't do it. However, the idea of just taking the current WWE and NXT roster and saying, what would you do with this talent? In a vacuum, essentially. That appeals to me.
So that's what we're going to talk about today, listener. Don't know why I stumbled over your name. I've been saying it for 2 years now.
Your name is Final Dragon? Is that it?
Best Lizard?
Best Lizard?
That's my new nickname for him. Hey, Best Lizard, how are you today?
No, that's awful. He's Ultimo Dragon. He deserves our respect.
But that's
that video I watched of him at that con where fucking Ultimo Dragon comes out and nobody cares. It wasn't even a Japanese crowd reaction, very respectful, quiet. It was just a bunch of people going who the fuck is this Joker? Dude.
I'd have to be restrained from slapping each and every one of them in turn.
I would cheer hard enough for everybody else there. And Ultimo Dragon would look at me and be like, Jack likes me.
Ultimo Dragon would look at me like, hey, it's White from my favorite podcast.
Yeah, it's White from my favorite podcast. I have all my friends over to listen to it every week.
All of me. All of the one of me. The lore of the Two Nerds Podcast is
it's rich. It's a tapestry.
It's deep and a bit confusing, like Lost. Only good.
Except it means something in the end.
That remains to be seen.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
All right, so,
yeah, we've got the wiki page up right now with the full WWE roster. Not, how would you book from where they're at right now, necessarily. I mean, obviously you want to take gimmicks into account, but...
to be honest with you, as much as people... what's the best way to put this? Lionize the old school style of two dudes breaking the territory and just breaking story and booking themselves. WWE it's too big for that. You can't, you should have one booker, but we couldn't do all the storylines for all the talent.
Well, I think that's where the talent comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
This is something that...
And that's a good first point, I think.
Yeah, this is something that's a big thing still in e-fetting that... until you get, into certain parts and with certain notable exceptions in actual wrestling booking, especially the WWE, just doesn't happen anymore. You do what the WWE tells you to do, you read what the writers tell you to read.
Which, to be fair to them, there's a reason for that. They're a multi-million-dollar company, there's a lot of money riding on this, in the same way that that Marvel makes big tentpole movies and people don't take as many risks in making unknown new properties and movies anymore because that will, bankrupt a studio if they do it too much. I get why, but thinking about how we would do things in a vacuum without having to worry about potentially destroying the company, if this shit goes poorly.
Call me arrogant, but I think I could pull it off. I think I could do this without destroying the company.
I think a lot more people could than the people who they hired.
I think the biggest problem is the McMahon family.
I don't know if that's true. I think the biggest problem isn't necessarily the McMahon family, because in them there is a spark of wrestling genius.
I will not argue with that, but I think
they suffer from George Lucas syndrome. It's
Certainly.
not that they're there, it's that no one's willing to tell them they're being dickweeds.
And no one that they're not willing to just then get rid of.
Exactly.
A certain Mr. Punk that we have disagreeing opinions about.
Yeah, Phillip Brooks told them they were being dickweeds, but Phillip Brooks did not have the cachet to get away with that.
No. They gave him the squeeze and he left. Cats are active, of course. It is the True Nerds podcast, after all.
Shecky, shut up.
Every time you mention that, and I think I've mentioned that on the podcast before, but there was a Ren and Stimpy comic I had when I was a kid, and in the letter section, somebody wrote in asking fucking something, I don't remember what, but the in-character response that was given from Stimpy was, quote, "A big stinky bison named Shecky, he says hulla hulla halloo," end quote.
That's your...
And every time it runs through my head when you mention that dog's name.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now that we've veered violently off track. I think your overall point was right, though. Biggest change would probably be ask the talent what they think would be a good idea. Now, you don't have to necessarily take all those suggestions, because some of them are going to be ass.
And some of them are just going to be, please put over me, the Miz.
I said the first thing already.
I have this 10-point title run idea. No, I'm sure Mike's a fine guy.
Yeah, are you kidding? Mike is clearly the best team player. He does not care. He got to main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah. This is assuming the McMahons and Triple H have, for whatever reason, decided to stop touching the book. Still involved with the company, still care about where it's going, still available for consulting.
Because I'd be more than happy to consult with specifically fucking Triple H. Triple H seems like he's a damn decent booker. If given his own druthers, and if he's not competing,
shit.
Which I think that's only partially ego. I think Triple H recognizes that the character of Triple H is one of the best built characters in wrestling, so he wants to use that. But then he gets caught up in the, man, I'm really cool.
Well, and I think at the same time, I mean, to him, Triple H is a character, but it's his OC. Of course you want to see him go far, and good things happen to him. And
even if your OC is the bad guy and he's supposed to lose, In the end, he loses, but he gets to be on top for a long time before that.
And you live in your head about the situation, and you have to assume that everybody else likes him. And when that's backed up by merch sales...
Because it is. Because fucking them crosses move numbers, okay? It's the Motorhead, I think.
Sure, you gotta...
And to be fair, his merch is all violently awesome.
He's got pretty cool stuff. I haven't seen anything.
But anyway, it's about, like, alright, pulling a name right out of the list here. We'll use this. I'd be willing to bet that a fair portion of what the New Day does is the New Day's idea, and it shows.
Oh god, yeah. That's evident. No one in creative thought of that shit.
And it shows because it's so genuine and so good, and you can tell they just let them loose on the mic, and it works. Well, and there's a reason it works, because this is wisdom from Jim Ross, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Paul Heyman, all of which I have separately heard say a version of this, to give you an idea of what my sources are. I have heard on many occasions, those being 3, the best wrestling gimmick is your personality with some part of it dialed up, as far as it will go.
Right, because it allows you to ad-lib so much easier.
Because
you don't have to think, what would my character do in this situation? Which is one thing when you're a pure actor, but these guys also have to be athletes at the same time.
And also, there's no takes.
Yeah, that too.
Like, if RDJ fucks up a take
much to Psycho Sid's dismay.
If RDJ fucks up a take, speaking, science babble during an Avengers movie, he can just reset, start again. You don't get that in almost all wrestling. There's no takes. You can't fuck up, because if you fuck up, that's part of your character now. So, letting them be themselves, or letting them be the thing which speaks to them. Because I don't think the guy who plays Bray Wyatt is very much like Bray Wyatt.
No, but I think he really digs the character and found something in that. I mean,
I think
it's a fact that he's responsible for most of it, down to the guy's fucking music.
Oh yeah, he's responsible for the character.
Yeah.
I would ask him how, I would go and, alright, Bray, what do you want to do with the next 6 months of Bray Wyatt? Now, obviously, we're going to be talking to the other talent about this, seeing what their ideas are, but what do you want to do? And I'd do this for, I'd try and make time to do it for all the members of the roster.
I don't see why we couldn't.
Because you might, and let them know you might not have time to take this, because it's about trying to fit pieces together.
Sure.
But, it doesn't fucking hurt to ask, man. And I'd just fully stop writing promos for people.
Yeah, if they're not good on the stick, then that's not their gimmick anymore.
They don't have to talk.
They don't have to talk.
Wrestlers don't have to talk.
No.
I understand why you have a 3-hour show, so you think wrestlers have to talk? There's a much easier fix to that. 2-hour show. There, it's fixed. But, I like the guy just fine, but look, there's no reason that Roman Reigns has to say more than 6 words. Ever.
Just get him one good catchphrase. One actually good catchphrase.
Let him think of a good catchphrase. Because that motherfucker, when he's speaking, genuinely, is really actually pretty good on the mic. But he's really bad at reading the lines you give him. Or
say, Roman, write me a list of 12 action movies that you love.
And we'll get you
a good catchphrase.
We'll fucking Frankenstein some shit together for you. We'll figure something out. Get him a good catchphrase, get him a good gimmick, a good storyline, and let him go. And don't have him fucking talk, because that's been clearly established as a bad call. The Usos don't have to talk. Please stop making them try.
Yeah, they're not great. But okay, so that's thing one is I suppose sort of the conceit of this exercise is that the McMahons are off to the side willingly.
Yeah.
And happy there.
They've all decided to take an extended Hawaiian vacation. Or they're going to make a reality series out of it, and it's...
Whatever.
Whatever.
Thing two, the big first thing we do is we talk to the roster and say, what do you want to do? Now, obviously, we can't talk about what feedback they give us, because we don't have the hundreds of people on hand in order to do that with, so...
Also, a lot of them probably wouldn't talk to us. as it stands right now.
In real life, yeah, sure. Who are you? Your podcast has 3 views.
Fuck off. Like, politely? Fuck off.
So that's thing number 2. Thing number 1 in booking. Thing number 2 in booking, and this is a me thing, I don't know if it's a you thing, but stop caring about whether somebody's a face or a heel. Stop caring about whether they're getting cheers or boos.
It's important that you delineate pro and antagonist.
Certainly.
How the audience reacts to that pro or antagonist should be, in an ideal world, none of your fucking concern.
Exactly.
Because there are people that like Joffrey from fucking Game of Thrones, okay?
I mean, go back to our Game of Thrones podcast. First of all, it's a doozy. It's one of our best ones. Secondly, good God, do I have some fucked up opinions about that show.
But it doesn't change how the Game of Thrones people, Spork's weird opinions, or other people's dumb opinions, don't change how they write their fucking show. They're writing the show that they're writing. They've been very upfront about that. When they've been told that they have fucked up, they have summarily told the internet, no, you don't need a dick, I don't care.
Well, and when you're WWE and you've got that kind of fuck you money, I think you can eat a dick, I don't really care. If that product was so shit for 3 years and they still made bank.
Yeah, alright, real talk. You don't have to tell the fans to eat a dick, it's just, you want to boo Roman Reigns? Cool, boo him.
Go for it.
That's not going to change the story we tell at all. Because, one, the fans need to accept, and the way we will get them to accept this is by really just driving it down their faces.
Vince McMahon logic.
The fans need to accept that they aren't in charge. They're here to watch a television program. And no matter how many times you tweet, I hate Joffrey, wish he would die, lols, he's gonna die when it's thematically appropriate for him to do so.
Sure.
You're here to watch a television program. You're here to watch the show that we're showing you. If you want to boo, boo. If you want to cheer, cheer. If you want to sit there on your hands and, I don't know, make sure you don't have a good time and the thing you paid a lot of money for, fine, that's your business. You still paid me my money, so I don't care.
I mean, I think wrestling benefits from the unique capacity to be able to change things on the fly, and there should be room left for that.
Yeah,
if something's not fucking working, do not be afraid to pull the plug.
Because there's a difference between this is working, but this is working because they're booing, that works in this situation, and okay, they're booing because they hate this.
Yeah, they're getting for reals mad, and not
There's a difference between heat and Sean Waltman.
And bleeding sales.
And that's the thing, you don't see that in the audience. You don't see that from the noise the crowd makes. They say it all the time, but it doesn't matter whether you cheer or boo. It matters if you buy tickets, buy merch, and keep fucking subscribing to the network. So long as you guys are doing that, I gotta figure I'm doing something right.
And you know what, to that extent, if I may on a brief aside, I know it's the first one of this particular podcast. We've talked before about, oh man, this might be the network for us. And what do I always say? I really like watching WCW. They gave me more episodes of WCW right up until its end. They care about me.
They're willing to give you whatever it takes for you to stick around, dude.
Motherfucker, you like WCW? Watch more. I give up.
It's ours anyway.
It's really bad. Watch it.
It gets real bad.
Oh yeah, it really does. Can't wait. It's gonna be a shit show.
But so freedom, I think, is what we're talking about. Freedom from the face and heel dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while keeping, making sure that you have the ability to change on the fly if something isn't getting over. I don't mean it's not getting cheers, I mean it isn't getting over, because there's a difference.
Yes.
And, while still maintaining a pro and an antagonist. Those are very important for any kind of storytelling.
Sure.
Someone needs to be an actor, someone needs to be acted upon. Now, who's in that position can go back and forth. Wrestling storytelling is actually really great for that, in a way that a lot of other storytelling modes aren't. So I think you really want to make use of that, but you need to determine who's doing what. You need to be that needs to be fixed. Whether the protagonist is the bad guy or the good guy is immaterial. He might be an asshole. He might be a really good guy who's just kind of dumb. I just realized I described Ramsay Bolton and Jon Snow. and again, Game of Thrones is a really good example here. There are protagonists and antagonists, but I would not call anyone in that show a hero.
That's fair.
I would call some of them a villain.
Yes, I would as well.
Ramsay Bolton. He's a villain.
All right, so it's day 2. For whatever reason, talking to the entire roster only took a day. Where do you go? What's your first big move? You hit
2-hour show.
2-hour show. That's your big move.
2-hour show.
I'll
keep the draft. That's fine. 2-hour Raw, 2-hour SmackDown. Done.
That's tempting.
That's my first big move.
Like that is super tempting.
Just trim the fat right off all my shit. If I need to go back to it after a while, if I end up having too much to say, because you can fill a 3-hour fucking wrestling program. It's not hard. They're just bad at it.
Oh, and that's kind of where I'm sitting. I think I might keep the 3-hour show. But
my ability or inability to fill that time is not why I'm cutting it. I'm cutting it because of fan fatigue.
And that's something I was about to address. I would want to do kind of like they used to do with Monday Night Raw and Raw as well.
Okay.
Where the first hour is a little more G-rated, and the second hour, or the second and third hour, are more PG-13. Not TV-14, I'm saying leaning in the direction of, this is a little bit more for the adults.
Like, the first hour of the show is your main event.
Sure. Well, yeah, Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event. The new show, main event, where Santino lived for like 3 years and we didn't even know.
So I don't think I would change anything there. You know what I think my first big move would be? Based on shit that's going on in real life.
Okay.
John Cena is no longer an active wrestler. John Cena is now the host.
So long as you allow caveat for him to still wrestle occasionally.
Yes, I think every now and then he's going to do a storyline, but the man is phasing himself out anyway.
And it's a good way to use your John Cena because he's super charismatic.
Yeah, I don't want him to be a GM. I don't think he needs to be in a position of power, but I think maybe somebody to introduce segments. He does a lot of big stuff in the first hour. He's the host of Raw, like the special celebrity guest hosts we had there for a year or two.
I don't hate that.
It lets him still be in the business, still prominent in the ring. He's still selling that merch. He's still glad Hansel Kids.
And so long as you do an occasional storyline, I think that works.
Every now and then he's just gonna be like, "No, you've gone too far. John Cena has to fight you." Or a heel wrestler that we're trying to get over attacks John Cena because he's an icon of everything. I'll take you down, Cena, etc., etc., etc. I think that's my first big move. But I do want him on the screen because he prints money.
He's like the Wii.
He is the Wii.
I don't hate that idea at all. I think that's a good move. I don't think, in my version of the word, there's not really time for a host.
Well, because you've cut down to 2 hours. I'm keeping the 3.
And I think that'd be a good way to help fill that third hour.
The first hour, ironically, because you know what, the second and third hours, he's probably not there as much.
Because the first hour is more for the kids.
Yeah.
And that's where John Cena lives.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. All right, that's fair. So we've gotten our first big move is talk to the roster, see what they're interested in doing, see if they have ideas. If they don't, that's fine. Because not every wrestler does, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of guys just there to do a job.
In the case of some, do the job.
I happen to be looking at Orlando Cologne's name as you said that. What a coinky dink.
I didn't say it.
Poor guy.
But I think another thing I would do is I meant to phrase this as a question because I wanted to ask you this too.
Okay.
In addition, because you mentioned a big thing you would do is John Cena is no longer an active wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other big roster moves you make?
There might be some shifting. Like, I would probably do something like the draft. There would be definitely a roster split. And there would be a point to it. It wouldn't just be these guys are on this show, these guys are on this show. I don't know, whatever happens. It would be like this show has the Cruiserweight division.
It would be a non-randomized split.
Sure.
It's not a draft. Well, it can be a draft in kayfabe. But
yeah, that's fine. But like in terms of practicality,
it's to create themes for your show.
The wrestlers that are on each show are there for a fucking reason.
I would do the same thing with the draft, actually. I'm keeping it, but I would draft to specific product typings. NXT, there's no reason to make, because my first instinct when I thought about this was to like make SmackDown NXT. There's no reason for that. NXT is NXT. NXT is serving its audience just fine.
Yeah.
But I think it would be the best way to do this. The best way to do the draft is to take Raw and make Raw the prototypical WWE program that tells their kind of story, that showcases their kind of talent, that showcases the World Bodybuilding Federation type talent that Vince likes, because there's a large swath of wrestling fans who also like those guys, and that's serving a market. I think SmackDown can be a great home and a productive home, a productive place to be for the talent that is more popular with, shall we say, a smarter audience. I don't really like to use that term, but an audience who's more smartened up to the business.
It's a cat fight. We don't have a Joey Styles on here.
I think you can put your Finn Balor, your Shinsuke Nakamura, because I'm moving those fuckers up to the main roster. Look, I know NXT is NXT, but like those two, why the fuck are they on NXT? Those are huge draws.
Finn's probably moved up.
Good. Like, by the time they hear this?
Yeah.
Good. I hope so. Shinsuke, gotta be up soon. Those are huge draws. And Shinsuke Nakamura's, like, the dude's so charismatic I can feel it through my fucking television. Why are you not taking advantage of this?
I wouldn't have ever put him in NXT in the first place, but my product wouldn't be as... My wrestlers wouldn't look as bad for Shinsuke Nakamura being there as WWE's would. Like, they're fixing it because they're really putting over guys like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and so on and so forth, but they have a lot harder to hook.
But as much as I like him, I really do, never put Roman Reigns in the same ring as Shinsuke Nakamura. It'll look sad.
He'll embarrass.
Even if, like, it doesn't matter who wins or loses the match, Roman will be embarrassed. Because Roman's this quality talent, but he's been wrestling for like 6 years. Shinsuke is a master of his fucking craft. But anyway, I want that. I want that more indie-style product on SmackDown. SmackDown's always been kind of the B show. I don't want it to be the B show. I want it to be a show. A very specific, very themed show for one section of my audience. Because WWE has a big enough audience and a wide enough selection of talent that they can afford to make a couple different themed shows, a couple different shows that fit very specific typings. That way you can differentiate your product and give people a reason to watch either show. Because you shouldn't be aiming for your people to watch all your shows. You shouldn't. They should always want to watch your pay-per-view, they should be subscribed to the network. But you shouldn't be aiming for everyone to watch every show. Because very few people are going to willingly watch, I would be at, 4 hours of wrestling weekly, just with the two big shows. Another hour so 5 hours. You'd be at 6.
Yeah,
that's a lot, dude. That's a week. A lot of week. Not a lot of people are going to do that, and the ones who do are going to do regardless.
Yeah, I mean it's unlikely that you're going to change people's minds drastically about your product. Did you have anything more to say?
Not for this.
Okay. Still getting over my illness. I want to do a similar thing, but not exactly as you said. In fact, honestly, as much as I said the McMahons are out of the picture, maybe Triple H still runs NXT. Maybe I don't fucking touch that.
He's got a real good thing going.
Yeah, like that seems to be doing what it needs to do. It's teaching new talent the ropes. And as much as I would love to see bigger guys that are currently on the roster down there, on the main roster, that show needs its big guys too.
That's true.
There might be some training going on there. Some people who are on the main roster might end up there. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'd have to actually line it all out and write it all down and make some decisions and talk with Trips and talk with the locker room, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But
I think, like I said, NXT is NXT.
I'm fine with it being what it is. It's doing its job well. There's nothing to fix. It's not broken. But Raw and SmackDown, kind of broken. You are absolutely right. SmackDown is the least risk in fucking with it. And I think potentially the most reward. SmackDown has always kind of been the show where nothing happens in there.
If anything important happens on SmackDown, it will happen again on Raw.
Yeah. I don't want that to be the case. I want SmackDown to be Croatia, where no one knows what's going on. Unless they go to Croatia.
That's a weird way to put it.
I suppose it was, in hindsight, but that's what my mouth and brain did. It doesn't need to be, we don't need cross-show promotion.
No, the brand split would be very firm. At least at first.
We might not have 2 world titles. I'm not sure how I'd work that out, but
the big title doesn't necessarily have to be the world title. It just needs to be the big title for your show.
Sure, and in that sense, the Raw could have the WWE Championship, WWE World Heavyweight Championship of the world, and SmackDown could have the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, maybe that's not what I would necessarily want to do, but it's certainly an option.
I know it's an iconic title, but I might have to retire that. Purely because I despise that name. I've always despised it. Look, if I keep it, I might make it the Championship of the Sea, because that's what that is. That's the Poseidon Championship.
I think what you need to do is bring back Paul Burchill, and he stakes his claim on the Intercontinental Championship.
Because what's in between the continents?
The title of the sea.
It's it's not the intra, it's the Intercontinental Championship. And I know they need, the champion who is connected to all the continents. That's not how you use that. That's not how you use that phrase.
Regardless,
that's international.
The name has star power, and
it's a classic name. I just look, the U.S. title might be getting a bump, is all I'm saying.
I'm not a big fan of the U.S. title. The U.S. title, I mean, there's been guys who've done some work with it, so it will fade slowly into the night, but it will fade into the night.
Whereas I might give the Intercontinental title a break because I hate that name.
But
then it's got so much cachet and history.
It does. I mean, it's like there's some stuff you just can't fuck with, like the Royal Rumble.
Much as I might like to, it's the Intercontinental title. That's fucking. There's so many good stories there. Fuck.
That's like when you were, you mentioned beforehand. You were like, "What's your first big move? Fire AJ Styles?" And I said, "No. What are you fucking kidding me? He's money. He's fucking Prince money, and he gets me IWC cred. Why the fuck would I fire AJ Styles?
You get you IWC cred so long as he's winning.
So have him win against someone.
Like who though?
I don't fucking know. Off the top of my head, Bullet Club goes up against fucking Wyatts. And it's a really good back and forth.
The Wyatts need to win.
Yeah, the Wyatts do need a win. And the fans will be happy no matter who wins.
That's true.
I win. My win.
There's a couple very specific stories that I would want to do. Like, obviously one of the reasons you move Finn Balor up to the main roster is so that he joins Bullet Club, eventually takes it over like AJ did to him in Japan, becomes Balor Club, because that's a better name than the club. Balor Club, much better merch, much better sales, and then AJ can complete the face turn that he should be. He's popular with like 3/4 of the crowd. Why is he a bad guy? Why? That's just stupid.
I mean, it's the opposite of the logic they use when booking the Wyatts, too. They booked the fucking Wyatts into the ground because they were trying to get them over as heels. AJ Styles is over the moon as a face, so you turn him heel immediately? No one's gonna care.
Like, AJ Styles should be a face. He should be a face. What the fuck are you doing?
And he just doesn't play bad guy well, in my opinion. I mean,
look, that's neither here nor there. It's like, he plays a good guy pretty well. The fans like him, and I have more stories for AJ Styles as a good guy. Just fucking. If he wants to be a bad guy, fine. You best give me something to work with, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I'm more than willing to do what you want, talent. What do you want to do?
Present them.
It better be good, Because if it's not, you're doing what I want.
Well, that's the age-old sort of question, isn't it? You know, when you criticize something, what follows is, how would you do it better? What other solutions are you offering? If you don't like my ideas, what are your ideas? And in the absence of that, it's all right then.
Pretty much. But what else? What else is on docket for you?
What else is on docket for me? There would be... Our main event has lost a lot of its dross. And that's good. Warming your little heart there, using the word correctly. I used it wrong like once and then trolled him with it for a while. And not even using it incorrectly, just saying dross out of nowhere. It upset him for a long time, but it's a good word, so I just use it now. And that's good. I think we're in a good spot. Like, Randy Orton's coming back to face Brick Laser at the next pay-per-view.
Which, that's a terrible match.
I mean, yeah, no matter how you slice it.
That's not good for anyone.
No, Randy Orton's coming back to lose, or Brick Laser is losing.
For no reason to Randy Orton?
After his huge UFC. Neither of those make any fucking sense.
Like, you know what it is? They had no one else for Brick Laser to fight at SummerSlam.
Basically. So... I probably would, I'd probably sever ties with Brock quietly. Let him go do what the fuck he wants. There are two problems with Brock Lesnar. One, he is select dates talent. And he's a main eventer.
But he's, as you put it, the we.
You know what?
The dude is a draw.
He is. You're not wrong. But I've got AJ Styles, and I've got John Cena. We'll be okay.
Like, you also need to make some... I'd say you give it, like, a year and a half, 2 years, and then you slowly break ties with Brock. Because that way you can use his drawing power, and more importantly, you can try and pull some of the heat off him to use to help make new main event talent.
Sure. I'm not talking about just axing the guy immediately, but like I said, the process needs to begin. We need to go, okay, Brock, you and I, we're doing good business. I'm happy to continue that for a little while, but I think we need to work toward a conclusion. Because I would rather see you have meteoric success somewhere than have to be worked awkwardly into our wrestling dates. You know, we love you. We've done good business with you. I'm completely open to working with you in the future, but this is not...
And select date main event talent is not the way the company is heading in the future.
No, it's not healthy. It is not healthy for the sustainability of the company. One of the biggest fucking gunshots in the leg that the WWE went through in recent history is, 3 pay-per-views that went by without a main title defense.
And
that's fucking stupid.
I get the idea behind like a spectacle talent. Like the talent who only shows up very rarely so that the things he is there for are must-buy events.
To that extent, you want me to keep using Brock Lesnar for the rest of of time? He's the new Undertaker.
Just shows up at WrestleMania, has a match, eats a guy, leaves.
Or SummerSlam or what the fuck ever. Yeah, who gives a shit? I'll feed someone to him. It'll be great. Brock Lesnar gets paid. Brock Lesnar gets to hang out in wrestling.
That's a big draw for WrestleMania.
It is.
Replaces the Undertaker streak.
And it feels legit. Because people aren't going to be like, who the fuck is this and why are they here? What is Blutista doing? It's Brock Lesnar. This makes perfect sense.
Brock Lesnar shows up for WrestleMania once a year to be a guy. If I could get Brock for sustained dates for like a 6-month span, I'd wait until if he becomes the UFC champion. Because I think having Brock be UFC and WWE champion at the same time would be amazing.
Sure.
The reason for that is because it puts a lot of focus on your title. Holds it right up there in concert with the UFC title. Gives it, a big boost of legitimacy in the mainstream, which it could use. And you have him lose that title right before a big UFC match. So that whatever happens in that UFC match, you have storylines to work with from that UFC match. If he loses at the UFC match for the championship, for his championship there, then in the WWE universe, you can say that whoever beat him for the WWE title softened him up for his competitor.
Yeah.
If he wins, he overcame. Because Brock Lesnar would not be a heel in my universe, not a strict heel. He gets too many cheers.
He's a monster.
But there are people who like monsters.
Yeah, but the other reason I don't want to do full business with Brock Lesnar anymore is because it frees me up a Paul Heyman. And that's handy to have lying around.
You're right there. You are entirely correct there.
I would love to staple that motherfucker to some really great talent who can't fucking talk. I think Paul Heyman needs to have a Jimmy Hart-like stable of wrestlers. They started to do that when he had Brock and Cesaro, and then he decided not to anymore.
Like, they just stopped. They just sort of stopped.
I mean, that might be something the Paul was asked for. He might be not wanting to work as much. I don't fucking know.
But, like, assuming that it's something that creative decided, I think you're right. I think he could be just the new Jimmy Hart. A bunch of talented wrestlers who maybe aren't the best talkers in the universe. Give him a Paulus. Because here's a hint. Brock's not the best talker in the universe. Never has been, never will be. But he's a big part of why he's so over in WWE is how good Paul is at selling anything. The guy could sell ice to Eskimos. He's amazing.
Hell yeah.
I think that's a good plan. You are losing a big draw, so what I'll say is, who are you putting in to replace him? What new big stars are you making to replace the draw that is Brock Lesnar?
I don't need the draw that is Brock. Here's why.
Okay.
The draw that is Brock Lesnar is an event spectacle match. He's not the champion. Nor should he be.
Not if he's not for sustained
Not if he's not full contract.
If he's not for sustained date, definitely you're right.
Yeah. We've got plenty of guys right now. We've got Seth Rollins is back. We've got Dean Ambrose. We've got...
I love Dean, but like...
First of all, Dean, he goes in the second hour and a half of Raw, where he can be a little less doofy.
Fair.
He doesn't need to be Attitude Era Stone Cold, but he needs to be Dean Ambrose.
He doesn't need to be Attitude Era Stone Cold, but he shouldn't be heel Stone Cold.
He needs to be the gimmick that they're selling, and not
the gimmick that he is.
The gimmick that he is. Yeah, he needs to be that unhinged, dangerous Brian Pillman-esque character without the hot dog mustard fights. I love goofy 90s-esque shit like that. I do, but time and place. You know? I would probably... There's other guys in the roster who could move up. So I've taken a brief look at things here.
You think maybe it's time for the Zigzag to make his rise?
Ziggler, I could see moving up to the main event as well. He could do something there. Or, honestly, we could tag Ziggler and Tyler Breeze together.
I'm not actually a huge fan of that.
I would want to try it out. If it worked, awesome. If not, then we go their separate ways.
Because I like the distance Dolph has given himself to Tyler Breeze's gimmick.
Yeah, I guess
Tyler can have that gimmick because that was Dolph's gimmick.
But to that extent, I think either something along those lines or moving to the main event and having something to do. Right now, Dolph Ziggler is kind of languishing in a way that he doesn't. Like, okay, yeah, Dolph's old gimmick was what Tyler Breeze is. What is Dolph's current gimmick?
Shawn Michaels.
No, I don't think Shawn Michaels ever lost that much. I'm pretty sure Shawn Michaels made sure Shawn Michaels didn't lose that much.
They lost a lot more in early DX than you think.
Sure, that's true.
But his current gimmick is Shawn Michaels if Shawn Michaels lost at the time.
Yeah, he's not a very good Shawn Michaels. And to that extent, I mean, fucking stick him with Dean Ambrose. Like, have them be Dean Ambrose.
Stop.
But no, like, have them be up to shenanigans together. The Shawn Michaels to his Triple H, as it were. That
wouldn't be a bad plan.
No. And, just give him something to do, because he's got a lot of charisma, he's got a lot of talent, and he's currently shooting blanks because he has no choice other than to do that. I'm not really seeing anybody else who's ready to be pushed to the main event right the fuck now. I mean, Styles could, but that's not really where I want him at the moment.
I'd like him as an upper mid card.
Yeah, upper mid card, exactly. Same
Intercontinental title bracket sort of thing.
As Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and so on and so forth. If we could get a decent enough character around him, I think Cesaro could probably ship up to the main event.
I think he's talented enough. Honestly, the thing they did where they strapped him to Paul Heyman, why did they stop? That was the best thing they've ever done for that guy.
Sure. Well, I mean,
he's amazingly talented and not very good at talking as Cesaro.
Yeah.
I'm sure Claudio Castagnoli is a fine... No, really? Okay, fair.
It's alright. It's nothing it's Billy Gunn level.
Okay, well, fair.
It's okay.
But like...
Maybe don't make it your thing.
But like, as Cesaro, he's not... Even when they give him an opportunity to talk, he's not very good.
But he's over right now based purely on his in-ring performance.
So if you strap any kind of, even a gimmick to that,
I don't even know if I want to go hard gimmick. I just want him to have a little bit of character. I want him to have a stake in things other than the title. That's about what I need to do. Because, you say, I want to move Cesaro up to the main event, and like in the back of your head there's that, can he really hang with the main eventers? But then you have to remember that our main eventers are Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. So yes, he's fine.
Yeah, our main eventers are currently The Shield.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns.
I'm not sure what I'm doing with Roman Reigns in my personal universe. That's a sticky wicket.
Because he's talented, but this gimmick's fucked.
He's talented, this gimmick's fucked, and everybody fucking hates it.
I mean, make him a dickhead.
I might give the guy 3 months off for all that matters.
Honestly, you know what you do? You turn him into your Brock Lesnar.
Maybe.
He doesn't talk. He eats people. Because he's good at eating people. He's good at, get up fools, this is my table now. And then, that lets the people who hate him for winning all the time hate him more. It turns the boos from a negative into a positive. Because then you build up someone to beat him, and that person gets a huge push from beating the guy that all the fans hate for winning all the time.
Sure, it's not a bad idea. I just don't know that that's what I want to end up doing. I will find a place for him. He's good talent, but I want to find a place that I feel 90% or better about. Because I don't want to do wrong by him, and nothing has been done but wrong by him so far.
That's just truth.
Since the Shield ended, the other two guys have been way better off. And one of them dated a Nazi and took his wee-wee out.
Way better booked.
Yeah. I mean, like, well, and
you know what? That's not even true.
IWC.
Before his injury, Roman's booking was fine, but then he got injured, and then Daniel Bryan happened.
Yeah, sure.
And then they didn't know. They've just been fucking casting at straws since then, with nothing to do and nowhere to go. But I think Roman can be main event talent.
I think he can be too, but it's going to be a year or two. I
don't think he is main event talent right now. As much as I'd love it, as much as I like him in the main event, just because it makes the internet mad. I don't think he is now, because you fucked it up. You, the WWE bookers, fucked his push so royally that there's nothing you can do anymore. Like, you gotta reset. You gotta give him something new to work with. You gotta change his gimmick up. You gotta turn him, you gotta give him the heel, because, like, dude has a monster heel running. As a heel, he'd be amazing. He has an amazing heel run in him. You can feel it.
The biggest thing for me is kind of like Dolph Ziggler, but less in the sort of... Dolph Ziggler to me is sound and fury. There's a lot going on, a lot of flashy lights, but nothing in the end matters. Roman Reigns is the opposite. Everything matters.
But there's nothing going on?
Yeah, there's nothing going on. I don't know who this guy is. He's Samoan and the guy. That's all I got.
Like, his gimmick's very muddled.
Why? Because of all the shit that's happened. And that's, like, honestly, that's why I might just give the guy 3 months off. First of all, I'm sure he could use a break. He's been a fucking workhorse. You know, and it's not a punishment.
I mean, he's getting a break.
Yeah, it's not a punishment. Look, I'll fucking pay him. But I don't know where to put him while everyone hates him in such a way. I need a couple months for the fairy dust to set in, and then we can decide what we're doing.
See, the reason I don't want to do that is because I don't think it'll work. I fully don't think. I think there is no way you get people to cheer Roman Reigns.
I'm not necessarily looking for that. I need a reset. I need for us to be...
There's no reset. I genuinely think that unless you have him gone for 2 or 3 years, and even then, maybe not, the fans have bought their hatred for Roman Reigns. It's a meme now. It's a meme to hate.
Sure, no, it's like the what chance. It will never die. But I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying, because I'm not trying to take him away for 3 months and then insert him right back in where he was before, which won't do anything. I want to take him away for 3 months, get a feel for what happens, and then find where Roman Reigns fits in all of that. I mean, if he's not going to get over as a face, we'll put him over as a heel, whatever. That's where Roman Reigns fits, but I need to see where he fits. Is he going to fit better in a tag team? What if Roman Reigns joined the Bullet Club? That could be interesting. You know, so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, that might, and you know what, in fact, that's probably the safest fucking place to put him. You want to make people like Roman Reigns, have AJ Styles vouch for him. Not The Rock, AJ Styles. In a non-title feud against the Wyatts. Because again, doesn't matter, we still make money.
Fair enough.
And that's 4 Wyatts versus 4 Bullet Club.
I would have Finn Balor in that spot, personally.
I want to do other shit with Finn Balor. I don't want to waste him on that. You're right, the Balor Club's a better name. I would talk to whoever owns Bullet Club, the guys that are still in Japan. I'd see what we could do. We're the WWE.
New Japan Pro Wrestling owns Bullet Club.
Oh, does NJP? Well, we've had good business history with NJPW.
I think they'd be willing to give it to you as part of a
we can borrow it. I don't give a fuck.
I think they'd be willing to. Well, because once they let you borrow it, it's yours now. You're the WWE.
We'll fucking pay them a percentage per use or some shit of merch sales or something. It's not.
But I think if you did, I think it would make a decent run for like a cross promotional gimmick. That hasn't happened in a long time.
Sure, that'd be nice. Yeah, like the old WCW pay-per-views where they fought a bunch of Japanese guys. Those were cool.
Yeah.
Like have a big supercard event. Not one of our regular pay-per-views, but just a big supercard. Would be super tight. I'd like that a lot. And that's not our competition anyway, so that's safe. It's not like that's TNA, not like that's WWE's competition, but
it's WWE's farm system.
It's their weird farm system that they don't talk about. But another thing I do is I would get Big Show and Kane off the show. Definitely. Agreed. 100%. I want them to still have positions at the company. I would love to give Big Show maybe a program on the WWE Network. I would love to have them active backstage as trainers, as road agents, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They're great personalities. I'm sure they work great with the younger talent. In a dream world, I would give Kane a really good last angle. But you know what? That's me dreaming. That's not going to happen. Best to just let them fade off in the background. Just get them off the show. One day, they just stop showing up. Where are they? You see them every now and then when wrestlers are causing problems backstage, like you do with Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah, like, have them just be backstage and be trainers. Yeah. I want them to be paid. I want them to have a job. I think Big Show would host a great Tonight Show style segment on the network. He's such a winning guy. That's a great use for him. I want to give him, because he's funny. He's fun. He's nice. You know, he's willing to do anything, including ride his dad's coffin around. That guy deserves a place.
But it's not in the ring anymore.
No, not anymore.
It hasn't been for a long time. But yeah, Kane...
I would keep Mark Henry around for a little longer and book him well. Novel idea, that.
No, it's been done before.
Yeah, I know, but, oh God, remember when Mark Henry was really good a couple years ago? And we were both like, what is this bizarre world?
How did this happen? Why were we never told?
I want to give him a couple last good runs. Maybe not with the title, but like as an important figure.
I agree that in Dream Universe, I'd love for Kane to have that one last Kane run.
Yeah.
And get, and honestly, I'd love for him to have the last Kane run and get, go out with a big boom with his boots on, boots in the ring, looking at lights like you're supposed to with old soldiers, and have him give that to somebody new.
Sure.
I think Kane is the kind of guy who deserves that.
Or, you know what? In fact, I could book it. I don't think it would happen. I don't think it's the right thing to do. But Kane starts acting weird. Okay? Like, sketch. We start to realize that Kane might be fading into the demon again or some crazy shit like that. People start talking about it, and the fans moan because it's stupid. And then, after Kane does a couple of big things, like, I don't know, he sets somebody on fire, he chokeslams someone to hell, whatever, what have you. He comes out wearing the mask. We find something that doesn't require a wig, because that's asinine. Either the man grows his hair out, or we make him a mask that doesn't need a wig.
You don't just use his current mask and take off the fucking wig.
And tighten the straps so that it's not all loose and floppy. Or make a full version of that mask, not unlike, say, Sin Cara or Rey Mysterio. That's just, that goes around the back.
Shit.
Whatever.
With, whip stitching in back that looks all rough and jagged.
Yeah, sure, whatever. We can do something. We'll figure something out. Kane comes out, delivers this fucking I have an English degree promo.
Because he's a great promo.
God, that man is a walking synonym. About how you guys are fucking idiots. I am the Demon Kane. I always was the Demon Kane. The Demon Kane didn't go anywhere. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing everybody he doesn't exist. Well, I exist and I'm here. And he causes trouble and he wreaks havoc until he hears that instead of The Undertaker defending his streak at WrestleMania, it's Brock Lesnar. He is incensed. He is the first challenger to Brock Lesnar's streak. Kane goes out on his back.
To Bork Laser?
To Bork Laser.
In that universe, who do you have beat Bork Laser?
Some guy that we hire 5 years from now.
Fair.
10 years later, or some shit like that. I don't fucking know.
Fair.
Not anybody's on the roster. I'd love to give Kane that send-off. And I could make it work, but I don't think we need to.
No.
I think it's just safer at this point to go,
Bye-bye, Kane.
Paul, Glenn, I love you both. I want to make sure you have jobs here. Let's talk about what you want to do. I would love to give you a late-night talk show on the network. Does that sound cool? Seriously Johnny Carson style. Let's do it. And I don't know, man, whatever you want to do. Whatever you fucking want to do.
So long as it isn't be a wrestler.
Yeah, you guys don't need to be in the ring anymore. If you want to train, awesome. That sounds great. We need good trainers who aren't fucking assholes. But just get out of my fucking ring, because no one wants you there. Well, I mean, people do, but not enough.
More importantly, there are no more stories to tell with those characters.
Sure, and you're taking up time that could be used to spotlight other monsters, like fucking Rusev.
You're taking up time that could be used to spotlight other monsters. You're taking up time that could be used to spotlight other stories, other talent. You're taking up time, at the very least, that could be used to develop your current talent and give them things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because ideally, in a perfect world, after 6 months of triage, I would want to have a federation where every person on the roster who's an active competitor has a character arc. something they're going for. That isn't necessarily just the title, because everyone's going for the title. That's boring. Maybe one or two guys can be the pure athlete who's just here to compete, but not everybody.
Sure.
Like, everyone needs to have a thing that they're going for that is worked into the current thing their current conflict with whoever they're going after next.
You know who I would just straight up get rid of?
Who?
The Boys.
Yeah, that's fair.
I will buy out your fucking contract. Get out of my ring. I don't know why you're here. You guys are awful. Go away. I loved them back in the 90s.
Nostalgia. That's why they're there.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're fucking awful. They're shitting on my nostalgia.
They're a nostalgia act, so.
They're bad. They're bad at act. I don't know how Bully Ray went from doing just fine in TNA to being made of farts in the WWE.
Cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I mean, like...
That's how.
And Devon Dudley doesn't know what a ring is anymore.
He's just old, dude.
I mean...
He's just old and gassed out.
That's fine, and you can say that, but...
Then why is he there?
A, B, there are other oldsters. Ric Flair at the same age would have wrestled circles around those motherfuckers.
Shit, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat will wrestle circles around them now.
I mean, just...
Dragon's still in amazing shape!
Goldust. Goldust is a perfect example. Goldust, I'd want to put him somewhere in the mid to upper mid card.
Give him something to do.
Yeah, I think he can... he's doing some weird shit, and I like that. Let's see what we can point that weird shit at. And I don't mean tagging him with a black guy for some reason. Why is that always the way they go? R-Truth, by the way, going also into the upper mid card. My upper mid card is very full, but I can manage it. Don't worry about it. Like, he might go into the upper mid card on SmackDown or something, or that might be where
because Ron Killings is a talented guy.
He's really
Remember when he was in the main event for a while?
Oh man, that was a beautiful, beautiful month. And we knew it wouldn't last, but oh my god, and he can deliver the fucking crispest promos.
He managed to make one of the best promos of that entire calendar year out of smoking a cigarette.
It was just so good.
And that's the thing. That's the untapped well WWE has. They have all of this talent, which is fucking amazing.
Great guys.
Like, just good talent. Amazing wrestlers. Amazing athletes. And they're not fucking using them.
Well, I mean, they're getting better. Like, they've been better lately.
Good. Get better still.
I honestly don't know what I'm doing with The Miz.
Sheamus. Why are you not using Sheamus? Sheamus is fucking amazing. Sheamus is one of the best currently working heels. He's so good at being a heel.
I didn't know his real name was Steven. I feel kind of disappointed.
Like it isn't Sheamus?
I thought it was Sheamus.
No, he's not actually Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. That's just...
Really? I mean, like, I appreciated the golly that's super Irishness of it.
That's why it's his name.
No, yeah, I'm like, it's not as good if it's a wrestling gimmick, you know what I mean?
That's fair. But, Sheamus is one of the best working heels. Like, he's an amazing heel. And shit, he's in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, and, like, he was great in them. You tried to push Batista.
You know what?
Push Sheamus.
Fuck it. Sheamus and Mark Henry can be goons. Let's roll with that heat.
Let's just make him, let's just make Bebop and Rocksteady.
Let's not mention it, but totally do it.
My man.
Dude, that would be awesome. That's a great use of your Mark Henry. A fun goon heel. I love that. And like, they just show up to fuck with shit. Like, someone else is having a good time.
Like the heel APA?
Or like 3-minute warning, but book better.
So just like, alright, do you have them use the phrase?
With the my man thing? Probably, if Michael Bay's not gonna sue me.
Like, call him, look, Michael Bay, I want to do a thing. Please post no sues? Thanks. My man.
Michael Bay seems like a cool dude. I don't think he'd care.
My man.
But like, as if Michael Bay was the only guy I had to talk to. But anyway, like, people are celebrating, fucking the New Day just won the titles. They're celebrating. So the fucking Goon Squad comes out, cuts a fucking Goon Squad promo, and kicks their asses. Like, and they immediately come back and lose. Like, it's like the fucking New Age Outlaws used to be back in the early days. Before they joined DX and after DX broke up.
I really like that. That's it. And that's off the top of the head.
Oh, sure. Shit. I mean...
like, this is the untapped well of talent that would be so much easier to use if you just, like, cut a lot of the fat from your storytelling. Your main event doesn't need 3 30-minute promos.
No, it
every
doesn't.
show. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. But anything else?
Your WWE title is going to be the biggest and best and most important title because it is, not because you spend the most time telling us that it is.
Show, don't tell.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. At the moment, I don't have anything leaping out at me. It's been a while since you said a thing.
I think honestly, while we would differ on like the minutia, we both have the same overall goal.
Sure.
And a big part of mine is you employ so many amazing wrestlers. Oh my God, you're making your job so much harder than it needs to be. Your job isn't to make things for the wrestlers to do. Wrestlers aren't actors. They're wrestlers. There's a difference. They aren't sports entertainers either, motherfucker. That's one thing I do. We'd be done with that.
Yeah.
We'd be done with that right away. This is a wrestling federation. These are wrestlers. Stop it. I might see if I can get away with doing intergender stuff.
Test the waters on that. But
Test the waters for like public perception. But if I can get away with it, I'd do it. Because it'd be great.
Honestly, I think that'd be how I ended up booking Raw. Is the first hour is going to be mostly cruiserweights and tag teams. The second hour is where you're getting into like intercontinental level shit and divas.
So like like a much more traditional wrestling card.
Sure, and then your main event is the big talent. Now, if I thought I could swing it, I would probably do the thing I do in eFeds I book, where the tag team championships and the women's championship are sometimes the main event. Because they are the most important titles in their division, why shouldn't they be?
Yeah, that's not even something you need to get over. Just do it.
I mean, yeah, I'd have to feel it out, seed it, test a little here, test a little there.
Sorry, enough to think over.
Yeah, it's alright. But I'd prefer to do it that way. Like, just every now and then, that's the big matches. And we can switch around, maybe the big burly dudes brawl in the second hour. It depends on who's there, depends on what we're doing, depends on what we're running that week. But that first hour, I want to be fucking entertaining. I want it to be the fun promos. I want it to be...
That's when the New Day shows up. That's when Enzo and Cash show up.
I want it to be flippy-floppy cruiserweight wrestling. I want it to be the announcers going, these guys are incredible athletes. Not necessarily talking about all the storylines all the time. I mean, because a lot of the commentary rules are going out the window.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think that should go without saying.
Yeah, that's kind of a given, and I think that's why neither of us have mentioned it until now.
I'm going to let the commentators do their fucking job.
Yeah.
I don't hire you to be a puppet. I'm not going to shove my hand up your ass and make you talk, Michael. You're a war correspondent. I trust you not to fuck it up.
Hour one, sell the wrestlers, have a good time.
Hour 2.
Hour 2 and 3, do whatever the fuck you do, don't get us kicked off the air.
Do your fucking job.
Yeah.
Your job is to sell the things that are happening in front of you.
You guys know how to do that.
Commentating.
Not you, Byron, but you'll learn.
You're commentating. You're not here to be the narrator for the entire Raw show. You're not here to remind people, hey, don't forget, Roman Reigns is doing a thing. Stop. Is Roman Reigns in the ring? Then shut the fuck up.
Well, and there's a time to do that, and
yeah, there's a time to mention your main event.
Yeah, there's a beautiful golden portion of WCW. Before Eric Bischoff kicked in full gear, before they did the 2-hour show, where they would talk about that shit, but only when nothing is going on in this match. Nobody has said anything for a long time, or nothing's going on literally. This dude is walking down to the ring. They're getting everything checked out. Hey, you guys, make sure you stick around for hour 3 because we've got a crazy main event coming up. The New Day is going to be fighting the Wyatts.
Definitely, you can do that.
Sell your card, but you don't need to.
Sell your card, but not while shit's happening.
Yeah.
While shit's happening, talk about the shit that's happening, please. Or novel idea. I know you guys aren't used to this. Maybe sometimes just don't fucking talk.
Oh, sure, yeah, that's definitely something.
Just stop. Be willing to stop. Cole, put a fucking sock in it.
I'm sure he wants to.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd love to.
I'm sure he'd love to just sit back and be like, these athletes doing athlete stuff.
But I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Like, I honestly, having heard it, we just want to do what pretty much every wrestling fan who knows the least bit about booking wants to do. In different ways.
Sure.
Stop scripting so much. Let the people you're hiring to do the jobs do their fucking jobs, please.
Like, I wouldn't even get rid of that many people. I would end the fucking Divas gimmick, or I'm not even used to it, the women's wrestling gimmick between fucking Charlotte with Rick and whoever.
Rick's gone. She'd betray him.
Oh, that's right. Well,
she has a lady now.
Yeah, it's the same gimmick, just Ric Flair is sure shaped awfully different. It's Ric Flair in a wig, like I said. Yeah. I don't even really see.
Can I fire Rosa Mendez?
What's wrong with Rosa Mendez, and why aren't we firing Alicia Fox?
She doesn't wrestle much.
I'm just gonna fire Alicia Fox.
I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna fire. I'll buy out her contract, or I'll wait out her contract. But
yeah, like
she's done.
Alicia Fox doesn't need to be wrestling anymore. No. I like my female talent.
I don't want them dead.
Summer Rae doesn't need to be wrestling anymore.
I don't think she wrestles. I think she's just the Mrs.
They tried for a while.
Or is that Maurice?
Maurice doesn't wrestle right now. She's not an active talent. She's literally Mrs. Wife.
Okay, the Mrs. Wife is Maurice. Okay. I don't know. Summer Rae was a dancer?
Just stop. You're not gonna.
I don't.
She's fetch. They keep trying to make Summer Rae happen, and it hasn't, and it won't. We're just looking at the roster at this point.
I mean, I was scrolling down to see if there's anybody I'd kick the fuck out, to be honest with you. Or anybody who's, like, gotten a raw fucking deal.
I mean, there's lots of people who've gotten a raw fucking deal.
Yeah, like Primo and Epico, they'd go legit. They don't need to be Matadors anymore. They can just be, which I don't think they are. They're listed as Primo and Epico here, so. Like, they're a good tag team. They just don't have a lot of charisma.
They're talented athletes.
Strap to Pauline. Who gives a fuck?
I mean, that doesn't sound bad.
Jack Swagger, Primo and Epico. Pauline
Dude,
can make
Jack Swagger was getting himself over. Like, so long as he embraces the lisp, I think he can do it. He got fucking scub hammered because he got arrested and wasn't allowed in Canada for a while. He's the all-American and Canada's just America's hat. So he got punished. Jack Swagger did not get unover because he was unover. We the People was over huge. Jack Swagger got unover because he got arrested, so he got punished. That's some bullshit. You don't punish your own stories because the actor playing that story fucked up. You're just cutting off your own knees.
Yeah, I mean, you release a public statement that says, he's gonna do whatever the American justice system decides he needs to do.
Well, you know what? If it needs to happen, it needs to happen. But as long as he's in on our talent, a wrestler should never lose a match because in real life he did something dumb. That's fucking stupid. You're cutting off your own knees. Tell the story like the story wants to be told. If he's an asshole, once you're done with that story, don't tell other ones.
Well, yeah, but it's like, when Rob Van Dam and Sabu got pulled over for having pot in the car or whatever.
It was like all the pot. And
like all the pot ever, yeah. And a dead guy. Sabu, who's your friend? I don't know.
Bernie. His name's Bernie.
Yeah. It's the weekend. Okay, you make a statement, go, hey kids, don't do drugs, our guys screwed up here, the American justice system is going to punish them as they see fit, if we need to take them off the show for that amount of time, we'll do it, but whatever, it's not, they still have jobs.
Like, unless whatever punishment they have is literally interfering with their ability to make dates.
Yeah.
Unless they're on fucking house arrest, don't. Stop.
Or unless they're like, unless they're coming to work all coked up like certain Hardy's Jeff.
Well, that's you preventing them from creating an unsafe work environment for the people they're working with.
Well, and I think there's a difference between like, oh man, I fucked up. I got a speeding ticket or whatever.
Well, time for you to lose for 6 months.
You're off the show, and and when you come back, I'm going to punish you really hard on the show and make an example out of you because you don't make me look bad.
You're going to get a goofy gimmick, and you're going to lose for 6 months. Stop. You shoot yourself in the fucking foot. If you want to punish them, just take them off air.
Yeah, I mean that's you don't need to ruin.
Don't ruin the character.
Yeah, you're ruining your assets for the future because you know what? That time is going to pass.
You're just burning the bridge. You're just burning You're burning the fans' bridge to somebody. That's what you're doing. The fans want to like your wrestlers. Mm-hmm. They want to have a good time. They usually pay a lot of money to come to your show, so they want to like your wrestlers. If you burn their bridge to liking that person, you've done nothing but you've done no one a disservice but yourself.
I think, in addition, or rather in the same vein as that, I mean, if they're doing something that's seriously, like,
sketchy in some way or another.
Seriously fucked up. Like, I don't know why anybody, I don't care how fired he is, I don't know why they kept Jeff Hardy for so long. Anybody. He was always full of every drug. That dude floated into work on a cloud of smoke he created and then evaporated in the middle of the ring.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I don't know either. I don't give a shit if my talent does drugs in their private time. I don't. It's not a sports. Stop.
Well, I mean, like, performance-enhancing drug, whatever. So long as it's actually legal, I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
Like, I don't give a shit. I really don't.
And you know what? Pot is one thing.
And I understand why the wellness policy exists.
Oh, sure.
It exists because of Chris Benoit.
Yes.
But
Eddie Guerrero. And, specifically, it exists because of Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero died. Wellness policy.
It exists because of those two dudes. Those dudes were an exception, not the rule. Firing a dude for buying pharmaceuticals from the wrong Rite Aid is retarded.
Yeah, even Roman Reigns' suspension was like, he didn't even do anything that big.
I mean, he did smoke some weed, and that's against the rules.
Wait, was that what it was?
It was, he blazed up.
Oh, okay. I thought...
Well, more specifically, one of his tests came back 420 blazing.
No, I see. Yeah, I'm not going to suspend you for 30 days. Just don't come to the ring high. And we can tell, buddy. we can tell when you're high.
Everyone can always tell. Okay? And it's not even that.
Unless you're Rob Van Dam, and you're better.
You've never not been high?
I don't know if I can do that, man. You know what, Rob? You do you.
It's because I don't want you wrestling when you're high. Because I don't want you fucking up a move because you're all high and, like, loosey-goosey and crippling somebody.
Sure.
That's the whole reason. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're into hardcore stuff, I don't know that I want you around because that's not a good element. I don't want that shit in my fed. I don't need you singing up a joint. I don't need to be arrested for paraphernalia and have us all investigated because you thought it was a great idea to bring your fucking crack pipe to work. Because you're on crack. And great ideas.
But doesn't need to be as hardline as it is.
No. I think Jeff Hardy was on meth, man.
Look, I'm not saying you can't fire anybody for this sort of thing.
No, but that's like,
Why did you keep him as
Why did you keep him? Blows my fucking...
Shit, if he's got a really good severance contract and you can't fire him, send him the fuck home.
Yeah, if I gotta
send him to fucking rehab.
Put him in back-to-back matches with Alicia Fox. This problem will take care of itself.
Oh!
Oh.
There's nowhere to go from there.
Alright, that's fair.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.